and welcome to the Home Broadcasting Channel. My name is Mtalam Kosia. Tonight, Somalia stands at one of the most dangerous political crossroads in the recent history. The term of the incumbent president officially ended today, yet the country remains without an agreed election model, without a clear constitutional roadmap, and without a political consensus on how power should transition. What you're witnessing is not just an election delay. It is a deepening political deadlock that threatens Somalia's fragile stability at a time when the country is already battling insecurity, economic hardship, clan tensions, and continued threat of terrorism. For many Somalis, this moment feels painfully familiar. Somalia has experienced repeated political crises over the years, especially when election periods approach. Agreements collapse, negotiations collapse, and mistrust between political stakeholders grow deeper. This time, however, the stakes appear even higher because there seems to be no meaningful breakthrough despite months of pressure from regional actors and international community. The opposition accuses the government of attempting to extend its stay in power without consensus. On the other hand, government supporters argue that organizing credible election in Somalia remains extremely difficult due to security concerns and logistical challenges. Between these two sides are millions of ordinary Somali citizens who are increasingly exhausted by endless political uncertainty. The international community tried to intervene. Diplomats, regional mediators, and international partners held negotiations between opposition leaders and the government in an effort to break the deadlock. But unfortunately, those talks end without success. Negotiation became another reminder of how deeply divided Somalia's political class has become. And this failure is significant because Somalia depends heavily on international support for security, humanitarian aid, and institutional rebuilding. When international mediation efforts fail, it sends a worrying message that political division inside Somalia may be more serious than many had anticipated. The biggest concern now is what happened next. Without an agreed election model, questions emerge immediately about legitimacy. Who exercises authority after the president's term has expired? What constitutional mechanism exists to manage the transition? Can the state institution continue functioning normally without political consensus? These are dangerous questions in a country where political disagreements can quickly escalate into security confrontations. Somalia's political system itself has long been contested. There has been debates about whether the country should move forward to direct one-person, one-vote elections or continue using indirect electoral system based on clan representation. Some stakeholders believe Somalia is not yet secure enough for universal suffrage, while others argue that delaying democratic reforms only prolongs instability. The absence of agreements reveals a larger problem within Somalia's state-building process. More than 3 decades after the collapse of the central government in 1991, Somalia is still struggling to fully establish stable national institutions that command trust across all regions and political factions. And while politicians continue arguing, the security situation remains extremely fragile. The militant group Al-Shabaab continues carrying out attacks across the country. Political instability in Mogadishu often creates opportunity for extremist groups to expand influence because division within government weaken coordinated security operations. This is why many political analysts fear that prolonged political uncertainty could create a vacuum that benefits armed groups. History has repeatedly shown that when political institutions weaken, extremist organizations exploit the chaos. At the same time, Somalia is facing enormous economic pressure. Rising food prices, unemployment, recurring droughts, and humanitarian challenges continue affecting millions of people. Citizens who are struggling to survive daily are watching political leaders engage in endless disputes while urgent national issues remain unresolved. There is also growing frustration among the youth. Somalia has one of the youngest populations in Africa. Many young Somalis want stability, jobs, education, and opportunities. Instead, they continue witnessing recurring political crises that delay national development year after year. Another important issue is the role of federal member states. Somalia's federal system has often produced tensions between the central government and regional administration. Some regional leaders accuse the federal government of centralizing power, while Mogadishu insists national unity requires stronger central coordination. These disagreements have complicated election negotiations even further. The failure to agree on a roadmap could affect Somalia's international partnerships. Donor countries and international financial institutions closely monitor governance and political stability. Extended uncertainty may slow investment, reduce donor confidence, and weaken development programs that Somalia desperately needs. But despite all these challenges, there is still a path forward. The first priority must be dialogue. Somalia's leaders must return to negotiating table immediately. Political compromise is not a sign of weakness, it is a necessity for national survival. No single faction can stabilize Somalia alone. The government, opposition leaders, federal government states, civil society, and traditional elders must all participate in finding a solution. Secondly, Somalia's leaders need to prioritize national interest above political ambition. The country has suffered too much conflict and instability for leaders to risk another constitutional crisis driven by power struggles. Thirdly, the international community should continue supporting mediation efforts, but solutions must ultimately come from Somalis themselves. External actors can facilitate discussions, but lasting solution cannot be imposed from outside. There is also need for transparency. Somali citizens deserve honest communication about political process. Uncertainty creates fear, rumors, and mistrust. Leaders must clearly explain what steps are being taken to resolve the crisis. Most importantly, violence must be avoided at all costs. Somalia cannot afford political confrontation that trigger armed conflict or deepen clan divisions. The country has spent decades trying to recover from civil war, and many citizens fear any return to instability. What Somalia needs now is leadership that inspires confidence rather than division. Leaders who understand that political office is temporary, but the future of the nation is permanent. As the president's term officially comes to an end today, without an agreed election roadmap, Somalia enters a highly sensitive and unpredictable chapter. The coming days and weeks will be critical. Decisions made now could either move the country closer to stability and democratic progress or push it deeper into uncertainty and confrontation. For ordinary Somalis, the hope remains simple: peace, stability, and political process that finally puts the nation above political rivalry. The world is watching, Africa is watching, but most importantly, the Somali people are watching, and they're waiting for leadership, compromise, and peaceful way forward. If you've got any question, contribution, or how we can grow this discussion, please do that in the comment section. My name is Mtalam Kosia, and this is the Horn Broadcasting Channel.